Hello, English learners. Welcome back to the English Academy podcast, where we unlock the secrets to confident and polite English conversation. I'm your host, Chloe.
And I'm Liam. Today, we're diving into a really important skill, how to express your opinions in English. And, even trickier, how to disagree without being rude. It's a fine line, but we'll show you how to walk it.
Exactly. Sometimes you have a strong opinion, but you don't want to sound aggressive. Or you disagree with someone, but you want to keep the conversation friendly. We'll give you the phrases and confidence to do just that.
This episode will help you share your thoughts clearly, respectfully, and effectively. Get ready to express yourself like a pro. But first, let's hear from our amazing listeners.
We get so many messages about this, Liam. Here's one from Sophia in Poland. I find it hard to say what I really think in English. I don't want to sound rude. What can I say?
That's a very common challenge, Sophia. Many learners worry about sounding too blunt. We're going to give you lots of polite phrases today that soften your opinion.
And we also heard from Mateo in Argentina, who said, how do I say I don't agree without causing a fight? Sometimes I just stay quiet. Mateo, we totally understand. Staying quiet isn't always the best solution. We'll give you graceful ways to express your difference of opinion.
So, Chloe, are you ready to teach our listeners how to speak their minds without stepping on toes?
I am, Liam. Let's start with our first step, softening your opinion.
Our first tip, soften your opinion. This makes your thoughts sound like suggestions, not demands.
Yes, start with phrases that show you're offering your view, not stating a universal truth. Use phrases like, I think that, I believe that, in my opinion, it seems to me that.
These are polite ways to introduce your idea. For example, instead of just saying, this movie is boring,
You could say, I think this movie is a bit boring, or, in my opinion, this movie isn't very engaging. See how much softer that sounds?
much better. Another great softener is, from my perspective, or the way I see it.
These are excellent for showing it's just your viewpoint. Example, the way I see it, online learning is the future. Funny blunder. Imagine someone yelling, you are wrong, this is the best movie ever.
That's not exactly softening your opinion.
Definitely not. So listeners, use these phrases to introduce your opinions gently. Excellent. Once you've softened your opinion, Liam, what's our second step? How to agree politely.
Our second tip, agree politely. This builds connection and shows you're listening.
Yes. Sometimes you want to show strong agreement, but without sounding too casual or overly enthusiastic, depending on the situation. For strong agreement, you can say, exactly, absolutely, that's so true, I completely agree.
These show you're really on the same page. For example, if someone says, learning English is a journey, not a race,
You could say, absolutely, that's so true, or I couldn't agree more. That last one shows very strong agreement.
and for a slightly softer agreement, if you agree but maybe not 100%, you can say, you have a point there, or that makes sense.
These phrases acknowledge their idea without being overly emphatic. Funny blunder. Imagine someone says, I love chocolate ice cream, and you reply, obviously, everyone does.
It's true, but not very polite. Right, so listeners, pick the right level of agreement to show you're engaged.
2 great steps down. Now, Liam, for our third and perhaps trickiest step, how to disagree politely.
Our third tip, disagree politely. This is crucial for healthy conversations.
Absolutely. The key is to acknowledge the other person's point before you present yours. It shows respect. Use phrases like, I see your point, but that's an interesting idea, though, or I understand where you're coming from, however.
These polite introductions make your disagreement feel less like an attack. For example, if someone says, I think we should work every weekend to finish this project.
You could say, I see your point, but I think we also need to consider team well-being.
Another common strategy is to express uncertainty instead of direct opposition. I'm not so sure about that, or I don't know if I entirely agree, or that's not always the case.
These are excellent for softening your disagreement. Funny blunder. Imagine someone says, the sky is blue today, and you instantly yell, no, it isn't, you're wrong.
That's not polite disagreement.
Definitely not. Remember, you can have a different opinion without making the other person feel stupid or attacked. Wow, Liam, what a building some serious opinion expressing skills now for our fourth and final tip, how to handle strong opinions or arguments gracefully.
This is about knowing when to step back and keep the peace.
Absolutely.
Our fourth tip, handle strong opinions gracefully. Sometimes you need to agree to disagree or simply change the topic.
Absolutely. If a conversation is getting too heated or going nowhere, it's okay to disengage politely. Use phrases like, let's agree to disagree. This means we have different opinions and that's okay. Let's move on.
Or if you want to change the topic smoothly, you can say, anyway, changing the subject, did you see the news about, or that's an interesting point, but on another note.
These help you transition away from a potentially uncomfortable discussion. Funny blunder. If someone is getting very angry about a topic and you just get up and walk away without saying anything.
That's definitely not graceful. Right. Or suddenly shout, squirrel, and point at something random to change the topic. That's usually not the best approach.
So listeners, sometimes the most polite thing you can do is to know when to gracefully step away from a disagreement. Wow, Liam, what a fantastic deep dive into expressing opinions and disagreeing politely today. We covered softening opinions, polite agreement, graceful disagreement, and handling strong opinions.
We really have. And remember, everyone, these skills are all about respect and connection. Practice makes perfect.
Absolutely. It's okay to try these phrases, even if they feel a little awkward at first. Every conversation is a chance to learn.
And speaking of learning, we are so incredibly grateful for our amazing listeners who support the podcast. If you enjoy what we do and want to help us keep creating these free, fun English lessons, you can support us on buymeacoffee.com/EnglishAcademyPodcast. It truly helps motivate us.
Yes, your support makes a huge difference, and we love hearing from you. Which of these phrases will you try first? Or do you have a funny story about expressing an opinion in English? Let us know in the comments below. We love hearing your stories and seeing your progress.
Before we wrap up, Chloe, what's one final piece of encouragement for our listeners to speak their minds confidently?
I would say start small. Try using a softening phrase like, I think, in your next English conversation. Practice expressing one opinion politely. The more you try, the more natural and confident you will become. Your voice matters.
Excellent advice. And I'd add, listen to how native speakers express opinions and disagree. You'll start to notice all these subtle phrases in action.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much for joining us on this empowering and very practical episode of the English Academy podcast. We genuinely hope you feel more confident in expressing your thoughts in English.
We'll be back next week with more essential English, more fun, and more laughs. Until then, keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep believing in yourselves.
Bye, everyone. Stay curious.
See you next time.